Now entering the
One. Are we ready?
Okay, Inside the Box. We are back again. Episode, what is this? 27, 8, something like that. We're in there. We got the Westside Pain Clinic guys here today. We got a full house. First time having 4 people in the new studio. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I am Dr. Kyle Neville.
I'm Dr. Bill Ritchie.
And Dr. Keenan Gilpin.
All right, and collectively make up Westside Pain Clinic here.
Yep.
Now, Westside Pain Clinic is not technically a pain clinic, correct?
Correct.
Is this the...
Correct.
It's more of a pain relief.
Yeah.
Pain relief clinic.
Yeah. So this is kind of weird. It's always weird having multiple people on the podcast, but it's good. It makes for good conversation. So I'm just going to go in circles here. Kyle, let's talk about how you got started here.
How I got started with chiropractic or in Springfield?
Chiropractic.
So I started off as a pharmacy tech at Walgreens, and
I was going to do that. Or no, be a pharmacist is what I was originally planning to do.
yeah,
And then I realized I didn't want to stand behind a counter my whole life.
Count pills. Yeah.
Although I'd probably be a lot richer.
yeah, and then I got transferred down to Walgreens in Granite City, and I just saw some things down there that made me switch my script, and kind of went the opposite route, and ended up doing something more holistic, and it's been good. It's been good. So
Where'd you go to school at?
SIU Edwardsville for undergrad, and then I went to Logan College of Chiropractic for chiropractic school.
And is that in St. Louis?
Chesterfield, Missouri.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
I lived in St. Louis, but yeah.
I just remember
Yep.
coming down for festivals
Oh,
and
yeah.
staying at your house.
Oh yeah. We shouldn't talk about on that.
How about you, Bill?
Yeah, I'm kind of, I guess, the old man of this group.
old fart.
The Godfather,
I've been
the
in practice.
chiropractic
The OG.
Godfather.
Right, for probably nearly 24 years now I've been in practice.
Because
So
you
I
had
don't
an
really remember
independent
why I
practice
started.
first, right?
I did.
Yeah.
So I did about 18 years on my own, and 6 years ago joined up with these guys, and then 3 years ago now we actually took the practice over and partnered up, and it's been a good deal since. But my reasoning for starting, I guess,
Yeah.
I got worked on quite a bit through high school just from athletic injuries and stuff like that. And then I went to U of I for undergrad. I was a kinesiology major there, which is kind of the study of human
Yeah,
movement.
my sister did that at U of I.
Biomechanics and stuff like that. And so that sort of led into the whole chiropractic field, I guess. I interned over there in Champaign with a guy for my last year of school, and realized my hands were pretty decent at it, and pursued it from there.
Nice.
And I kind of was ahead of these guys as far as going to Logan. I went to Logan.
Oh, okay. You went there also.
Yep.
Nice.
After that, so
I'm going to have you just tilt that thing towards you. There you
This way?
Yeah, you can twist it. There you go. We're in there now.
gotcha.
You sound good now,
Good.
Bill.
Now I'm in.
Yeah, see? There it is.
He's old. We have to help you.
You have to, sometimes you have to adjust
All
the
technology. How about yourself? You went to Logan also?
Yeah, we all went to Logan. My story is kind of the same as Bill's. High school, playing high school football, had a condition called vertigo. Basically extreme dizziness. I describe it as being as drunk as you can possibly be with the spins, but not be drunk. So, you get it so bad that you'd throw up off of it and couldn't walk and all that stuff. Went the whole
Was
medical
it
route.
like when you're about to faint kind of feeling?
No, not about to faint, but just extreme dizziness.
Okay.
At least me. I mean, that's my
Yeah,
personal
I
experience
was
with
curious.
it.
He got hit in the head too many times
Yeah.
playing football.
Yeah, yes, way too many times. Went the medical route, CTs, MRIs, they put me on medication, nothing worked. For about a year, had a guy telling me to see a chiropractor. Finally went to one, and within a couple of visits was fixed.
Feeling better.
So that's what kind of got my the ball going in my brain about chiropractic care. Then went to Eastern Illinois University for undergrad, and then Logan for chiropractic college.
Nice. Were you guys there at the same time?
We were, but we didn't
Yeah.
know each other.
Didn't know each other.
We didn't
Yeah.
meet each other until.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's
And
in.
you went there too? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Well,
it's-
Bill was.
Yeah, Bill
We'd
was-
already graduated. Like.
Well, I know. but-
These guys were in
okay,
grade
let's
school, I
just
think,
not
when I
heat on
was
his age, though.
But yeah, that school's interesting because you're in trimesters, so it's year round, and then you pretty much just stay in one classroom.
Yeah.
So I think we were close to each other, and
Classroom wise,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
we were
we
pretty
never-
close, but yeah, we never crossed paths.
no, just the way
Interesting.
the school is so
Yep.
in depth.
Is it one of the more like prominent chiropractic schools around? Is that
Yeah, around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this one, and then Palmer's the other big one that's kind of the Midwest ones that
Where's
people
that
go
at?
to.
Just out of
Davenport,
curiosity.
Iowa.
oh, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's one in Lombard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that one.
Well, it's funny. I always say like things happen for a reason or whatever. It's just kind of interesting that you all went to the same spot. Just didn't, but you two were there at the same time, didn't know each other, and you were just there before. So that's kind of cool. So is everybody from Springfield?
Born and raised. So I mean, I grew up in Rochester, but I went to Springfield schools. I went to Lutheran High, and then
I didn't know you were born in Rochester. When did you move?
Well,
to
I was
Rochester?
born born in Springfield, but we moved to Rochester when I was 7.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm from New Berlin. I went to high school in New Berlin.
That's
and
right.
We're still out there.
Old pretzel.
Yep.
Old pretzel.
Pretzel pride.
I'm originally from Wagner, Illinois, right south of Farmersville, but moved up here
Okay.
pretty young in life, so basically raised in Springfield.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, no, I'm excited to have you guys on. I know you. Obviously, we've worked together for a while. It's always been awesome. I've known Kyle for a long time, and yeah, chiropractic, man, it's an interesting thing. Natural wellness. Obviously, I'm partners in Simply CBD, and I talk to people all the time about natural wellness as far as like there's so many different things you can do, and I hate taking medication, like painkillers, any of that shit. I hate it. I just feel like I'm killing myself when I'm doing it. What kind of? I want to hear some stories. Like what do we got? We got some. Obviously don't name names. But
Yeah, we
but
can't do that.
but I know for me,
HIPAA
like. I mean, I go somewhat regularly, but I know as soon as I think I was hiking one time, and I just was carrying too much weight probably the whole 3 days or whatever, and ever since then it's like every once in a while I just get a little something in my back, man, and once I come and see you, like I get an adjustment, and within like a day or two, it's like I feel great.
I think the most dramatic ones off the jump are the disc patients, like the ones that are, you'll see them literally crawl in. I know Bill's got a good story about
I do.
one.
Yeah,
I can share that when he's done.
But yeah, they literally will crawl in, and then by the time we're done with them, they're
And when you say
they're
disc
walking out.
patients, like slip discs,
Yeah,
or
like a bulge or herniation in the lumbar disc is mainly what I'm talking about for as far as walking. But yeah, those are the most dramatic ones that you can see, quite a bit of improvement, visually from the time they walk in to the time they leave.
Right.
Those are the fun ones, I think, because you hear stories while you're in school about that happens, but you don't see that while you're at school a lot of times. So whenever you get into practice and you see that firsthand, it's like, wow, this is really amazing. I just did that with my
really
hands.
changing somebody's life.
I would say it's fairly rare that we have somebody actually crawl in the
Yes.
office. But this happened one time. We have an office over in Winchester as well. So we're over there. Each of us goes over there for a day a week. And when we first took that practice over, I had a guy come in. They called ahead, his wife did. And they pulled up, and he was laying down in the back seat. And I had to go out and help him get out. And he
Like a
actually
stretcher?
he could not stand up. I mean, he did crawl into the office and crawled up onto the table. And he spent the day before building a deck. So he was down on his hands and knees building a deck outside. And when he finished, he couldn't get up. And he spent the entire night out there on the deck.
Oh, my God.
He slept out there.
His wife brought him a pillow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he literally slept.
It was crazy.
I'm just gonna stay here. Just leave me here.
Yeah. So I managed to get him on the table. And when they're that acute and that flared up, there's some things we can do, but there's not a lot of things we can do, I guess. Because you're not going to do a regular manipulation type of thing that you would on somebody that could stand it, because they're just in so much spasm and pain. So I did some soft tissue work on him and some acupuncture actually, and he stood up and walked out.
Wow.
And I don't know that he came back maybe one time that week, and after that he was fine. I mean,
Yeah,
it was crazy.
That
That
is
was
crazy.
So they're not all that remarkable.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but the things that we can do to help relieve people in that condition, it's real. I mean, there is something there. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And for those that don't know what acupuncture is,
I'll let Kyle take that one. He's kind of the
Like,
acupuncture.
what do you mean? What it is? What it does?
Yeah. Well, what is acupuncture?
So I
I
probably-
kind of know what it is.
Yeah,
but,
I probably do it the most, but I mean that would be a good case for it too. Is doing it a lot of times what we do it for.
Now just real quick, you couldn't adjust because like when they're so like inflamed and stuff like that, you don't want to like piss
It's
it
too
off
hard to
more,
move them
pretty
around.
much.
It's, if you needed to lay them on their side or something to do sort of a manual adjustment, and you're in that much pain and spasm, it just doesn't work. I mean, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I guess it's not worth the effort to try to get them and put them even more pain at that point. So there's just other methods that you can do in those conditions to get them through it.
Yeah. Okay.
But basically, back to the acupuncture thing. Basically, we're working. What we do at Westside is I've mainly focused on pain stuff. I mean, I'm not doing a lot of different things. Most of it's for somebody with a hot low back or just general wellness, that kind of thing. But basically, what it's doing is it works off meridians, different energy pathways through the body, and then basically I'm activating those acupuncture points to kind of help them to relieve pain and whatnot. So
one acupuncture is like the needles. I think too is what he's asking, was really fine gauge needles.
Oh,
that you're
yeah.
placing into the body.
Yeah, they're super thin gauge. We use a Japanese needle, which is a little bit thinner than the Chinese needle, are pretty thick gauge. They can cause more pain, but we use a Japanese needle, which doesn't cause much. You can barely even feel it when it goes in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had it done. It's a little freaky to have done, but
yeah, it is for sure.
You even did it for me one time for my like allergy sinuses.
Yeah, it came out looking like Hellraiser,
and that was freaky. Yeah, it's in the face here.
Yeah, but it's not bad, right?
No,
yeah,
it
looks scarier than what it is.
Again, it's just like anything I can try that's like natural. Before, like I was having my allergies were terrible the other day, and I was like talking to the doctor. I'm like, man, we got to do something. I'm like, this is crazy. I can't even work when they get like this. He's like, oh, you just got to take your pills and all this crap. And I'm like,
I think the coolest thing that we have for that is laser. Our class 4 cold laser is ridiculously good for reducing inflammation in the sinus cavities.
Really?
It's pretty
Interesting.
cool. Yeah, and basically it's got a wand on it, and I can go up and trace where the sinus cavities are, and it helps to reduce the inflammation, and it works really quickly. So that's probably the coolest thing that we have for that.
And that laser is a good segue to, you were asking about some pretty cool cases that we've done. So we just had a case. There's actually a person in Winchester, Illinois, our practice location there. He got a bad car accident. Basically, had to have hip surgery a couple weeks ago, I think is what it was. Hip was dislocated. They couldn't manually put it back in, so they go in and basically cut open, put the hip back into place so it didn't become necrotic and basically lose his hip. I told him, I saw him, what did we see, like a couple days after that accident?
Yeah, it was like the following week, I think.
Yeah.
He was wanting us to do some stuff. I'm like, listen, you're worried about blood clot stuff. You can't ultrasound. You can't do that stuff. I'm like, what you can do is laser, the cold laser for it. So he came in, has been through, I think, 4 treatments with it, and he is basically healing at double the rate of what you would normally heal at. So that laser, they've been showing that it basically, if you have like a broken bone, an acute broken bone, it can, instead of taking 6 to 8 weeks to heal, it can take 3 to 4 weeks to heal. So we got it very early on in the treatment, and he went to his ortho, I think, this week, and his ortho was, I couldn't believe how fast he was responding. So he's essentially 2 weeks ahead of schedule where it would be. So it's pretty, that's a really cool case to be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk about this laser, because it sounds, again, freaky. Kind of, what I mean? Some of this stuff sounds a little scary.
Yeah.
Do you ever have trouble like convincing people to do this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Like, you want to stick needles in me?
yeah. Or you're gonna shine
that.
this light on me and it's gonna fix me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's really all it is. I mean, it's essentially a fancy flashlight.
It's cold laser. It doesn't like burn.
No.
It's a horrible description, but
Yeah, that's not accurate.
just a
That's
really
not a
fancy
professional.
flashlight.
It cost way more than a flashlight.
Right. Yeah. Well, so with the laser, we got it just over a year ago, probably, and we did a lot of research on it before, because it is a significant purchase for the practice. I got to tell you that I wasn't 100% on board with it. I don't think I was really sold with it. But through reading some of the research and things like that, we're like, okay, let's go ahead and go for it and do it. And really, within the first month, we had used it on enough people that I was convinced that this thing actually does work. It is doing something, So, and the main purpose behind it is it really reduces inflammation pretty quickly, and inflammation is really what causes most of our issues and pain, So I think that's our primary thing, which means in that essence is there's so many different things we can treat with it. Mm-hmm. It's not just back or neck or anything like that. Like Kyle said, it's sinuses. It's basically every part of your body that may have some inflammatory condition going on. You can actually put that laser on and make a difference.
Yeah. I learned a lot, like I mentioned before, but starting, simply, but a lot about how like inflammation is like the key of so much stuff, like stuff you wouldn't even think about, like not just pain, but so no, that's interesting. The how long have you guys had the laser, you say?
A little over a year.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
been
like-
over a year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, and the other thing too, going back with lasers, did you have a laser while you were at school?
We did not.
Yeah,
It's gotta be pretty new, right?
Well, I think it's been around for a while. I don't know the exact timeline.
I think
of
laser technology has been around for like 30 years.
It has.
but
40
probably
years.
back.
Yeah,
then.
they wasn't as powerful.
Yeah.
Well, and they
Back
didn't
in the
have.
day.
Well, when Keenan and I were at Logan, we
Wagons.
had access to Class 4 cold lasers, which is what we
Oh, okay.
have. So we had a little more experience and got to see it firsthand. And I mean, I used it while I was in school, and I loved it. It was a great treatment tool. So that for Keenan and I probably helped us sway our decision. Like, yeah,
You
this
already
is
knew.
super
Now you had
cool.
to
Yeah.
convince him over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's 2 out of 3
Hey,
wins, right?
understandable.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing. That's cool though. That it's good that I thought it was a fairly new technology. So
No.
that's good though that it's been around a while. So it's not
I mean,
like
obviously,
you're-
the technology is advanced.
yeah,
drastically.
but-
So that's like kind of what separates our laser. Because so anytime, obviously, there's like 4 classes: 1, 2, 3, 4. When you went from a class 3 to a class 4, they turned into what we call a hot laser, which means that if you held it over one spot, it would essentially burn the patient.
Gotcha.
Our laser, the company, they have this patented technology that it pulses and synchronizes the waveforms at a certain rate to where it won't burn the patient.
Interesting.
Okay, so it's basically a class 4 cold laser or class 4 laser in a class 3 package to where you can put it right over one area, set it and forget it essentially. And what that means for the patient is that you get mass effective dose into that area. You're not having to move it around, so you can
Yeah.
really target the laser, the light.
You get like
into
the
that
benefits
area.
almost of a class 4 without the no
Yeah,
burn
side
or
effects,
anything crazy
exactly,
like that.
exactly.
Okay.
And that was the other thing that kind of sold us on that one, was that aspect of it, was that it's also just more effective than any other class 4 cold laser or class 4 laser that is out there.
Interesting.
So
That was a really good description.
That was.
I appreciate it.
I know.
I'm proud of you.
I'm impressed.
we should make a video about that.
Yeah. Keenan the laser man.
You know,
We'll just clip that from this for the. So what is there any other uses for that we didn't mention there?
I mean, do you want to talk about
Well-
the one? I mean, it's not because it's
What's the one?
I think you told me about one
Oh,
time
the
like
COVID
a
case.
football
Oh,
player or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
I mean,
Just
it's
ankles.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
you know?
something. Didn't he like hurt himself or something? I was something with football. I don't
Yeah,
remember
I
what it
had
was.
2. This was last year with football season. When they had a shortened season with COVID, and every parent wanted their kid to play, and every kid wanted to play their sport. But they were hopping from basketball to football to track, and it was just there was no recovery
Beating
time.
themselves up.
Well, and all the sports are different too. The training's different. So, yeah, I had 2 football players that came in on the same day, and they both had rolled ankles. And both kids, I told them and their parents what I, think we should do, and we did it. We did laser on their ankles, and I mean, both had this exact same reaction. I told them to stand
Walk
up
out
after
of
we
there.
were done, and they stood up, and it was like, felt like it never was sprained.
That's crazy.
Which I told them we still need to tape it. We still need
Right.
to take precautions. Still injured,
Yeah.
but yeah, at least it made them feel better. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that was neat.
Interesting.
Yep.
So I've got one, just kind of outside the box. How's that? It's not. There we go. Yeah, that we have used a couple of times for the last couple of years. Obviously, with COVID, there's post-COVID patients, and you get the post-COVID symptoms with the lung issues, seeing a decrease in your oxygen levels, things like that with movement. So there's been some research studies that have been released on using the cold laser for that. And I have been able to do that in the office. Seeing some pretty cool results with it, actually. Just through even pre and post treatment, doing the blood ox, the pulse ox on patients, you can see a pretty remarkable difference, like from the low 90s or even below 90, getting it up to 95, 96 just after one treatment on it. Now, I'm putting that out there with sort of,
Right, yeah, I get you.
a caveat.
It's not
I
like
guess,
a
that
proven
it's not-
thing, but
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
yeah.
So there has been some studies and documentation done on it that shows that it works.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple patients going through that we decided to try it on, and we did see some results with it. So
Yeah.
kinda
And
cool.
I mean, all of that stuff.
and it's all inflammatory, it's
Yeah,
still
all
an
that stuff's
inflammatory
new,
thing.
so it's just like trying things, and
Yeah.
it's not like it's going to hurt them. So that's interesting. What kind of other I guess services or technologies are you guys using in your business?
Decompression.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a huge one. Decompression for the low back, like Dr. Neville was talking about, the bulged or herniated disc, slip disc. It's fantastic for that.
And what's spinal decompression for those who don't know? It's always weird talking to people where I know some of this stuff. It's like, I gotta act like I don't know, but
So essentially decompression. So once again, it's for bulged or herniated disc, arthritis in the low back. We'll take a bulged or herniated disc for example. So your disc virtually has no blood supply that goes to it. And it's also like a jelly donut. So you have a hard outer crust with a jelly substance in the middle of it. The hard outer crust has some blood, but the inner jelly does not. Okay, so the way your body basically keeps that disc healthy is through a natural pumping mechanism. Compression, bending, twisting, relaxation throughout the day will naturally pump fluid in that disc. As you get older, you don't move like you once did, so you kind of lose that natural pumping mechanism. So essentially, kind of I explained it is that your disc turns into like a dry rotted tire, where if you don't drive your car for a long time, that the tire gets dry rotted and you drive it and then it blows out. That's kind of what happens with your disc. So the decompression goes through a series of pull relax. It's basically recreating that pumping mechanism for your body to naturally pump fluid back into the disc itself. So kind of plumps it back up, gives the nerve more room to live. So, and if you guys want to expand on that, you can.
You're up.
now let's give a simple dumbed down.
Yeah.
This guy's description.
No
man,
kidding,
what's going
man.
on over here? You gotta write these for the website. I'm over here coming
So
up
basically
with
what Keenan said was
Practicing my spiel.
it causes a pumping action within the disc. And basically what we want to do is that those nerve roots that are in the low back, they stem out from that low back and then they go all the way down to the feet. So a lot of times people call sciatica anything that goes down the leg if they get the numbness or tingling, which the sciatic nerve does do that, but it has a very distinctive pattern of where it goes. If you can have a disc issue that's going to send the nerves stuff down the leg, further, but that could be any of those. But basically what the decompression table does is the best way that I describe it is there's a harness that goes around your waist and there's a winch that's on the wall. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to pull and it's going to relax and it's going to pull and relax. And what that does is it causes a pumping action within that disc. And basically if we can give you a little bit more cushion there and free up that nerve root, you won't have the stuff that's going down your leg anymore. That's the easiest way to describe decompression. And it works phenomenally well. We do a ton of them.
Yeah.
Low back, and it's mainly in Springfield, and then Winchester's actually got a cervical decompression table as well, so we can work on the neck.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's a little different.
Were you say something?
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, I like to think of pain as like as a pie, basically. I mean, so there's there can be three aspects of pain, or like causes of pain. One would be tight muscles, inflammation, arthritis. Deep bulge herniated disc. If you can just remove one aspect of that pain, take away one piece of that pie, it gives that nerve more room to live. So that's kind of where like the laser comes into play. If you just remove that inflammation, there's not as much pressure on that nerve. If you remove that bulge or herniated disc, there's not as much pressure on that nerve.
Okay.
Well, I'm following up with what Keenan says. A lot of times with decompression cases, we're not just doing decompression.
Right.
So we
Yep.
kind of take a shotgun approach and we kind of treat, because with a disc injury, you're getting nerve problem, you're getting you've got bone problem, which influences muscles, and so you've got a whole
I would imagine each person's a little different, so some of these things might help somebody more than another.
Yeah, so we kind of take a shotgun approach, and we do soft tissue with that. We do electrical stem, we do adjusting. So there's a lot of other things that come along with just doing decompression. Yeah. So,
and they have one of those guns that vibrates really fast and massages you. So you can just go in there and ask for that.
Yeah,
The good old
So
gun.
I guess for people maybe wondering if they were a decompression candidate, it's by far number one treatment for low back conditions. I mean, even just regular low back pain, even if you didn't have sort of the radiating pain like the sciatic type symptoms, decompression works for that. By far, if you've been diagnosed, if you have an MRI, you have a herniation or a bulge even if it's a couple different levels, I like to recommend that first. I mean, the adjustments, the other stuff that we do all come into play. Like Kyle said, it is a shotgun. We kind of throw all of our tools at it, and it gives the patients an option prior to surgery, basically, because a lot of times that's their last option, And for us,
it's nice you guys have so many things to try.
For us, we like to tell them, surgery is the last option, So we try to recommend to people to try everything possible first, just to avoid that, to avoid getting cut and recovering from that, and hopefully recovering from that, because it's 50-50 on whether or not that's going to work, So
how about spinal decompression? How long has that been around?
Well, this table that we have, the DRX table, I bought in 2004.
Yeah.
You know, so
Was it?
and it's
was
held
it around
up.
when
I
you were
mean,
in school?
I wasn't even
Original?
born yet.
There was some form of it, yes, but the technology obviously had changed a little bit, and in the form that it is now, especially in this table, I mean, I don't think that has been present for more than probably 30 years or so.
Yeah, interesting. How has it been, like, just seeing some of the different technologies since school?
Yeah,
Just
I
seeing
mean, it's
different
pretty cool.
things?
I mean, it's fun to learn new things, I guess, and to
Yeah.
see new options, and for me, especially, for all of us, really, a lot of times it saves our hands, because
Yeah.
we're not getting intense and doing as much stuff manually, because we have these other options that are faster and really probably better, so I guess in that aspect it's a good deal.
Yeah.
And we're
Technology,
constantly learning.
man.
I know.
Every aspect
Yeah.
of business.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just crazy to see. That's why I was kind of interested in hearing what else there was, because there's just, it's weird how it affects so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
And in some businesses, obviously it moves faster than others. Like in mine, geez, it got freaking
yours
new
changes
cameras
a
out all
lot.
the damn time. But and something like your guys' business, it probably doesn't come around as much.
No.
So it's interesting.
And probably one thing to touch on is you probably heard us mention soft tissue work,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which is pretty vague. But we're all kind of trained in probably 3, 4, 5, 6 different methods of soft tissue type of work, whether that's Graston technique, which is kind of you use a metal tool and it's a scraping technique basically to kind of release the tissue that way. We do cupping. Since Michael Phelps was in the Olympics, everybody kind of knows
he made
what.
that popular, right?
Yeah,
Was that him
everybody
that did
kind of
that?
knows
Yeah.
what cupping is.
So
Yeah,
weird.
cupping is
And-
older than acupuncture, isn't it?
Oh, it's been around.
I think it's
for 100
been
years.
around for
It's-
longer than so.
Yeah, it's
It
probably around
looks
the same
crazy.
time.
I'm like, what is
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on here? When I first
So-
saw it, I'm like,
And that's interesting to see the sort of the evolution of just cupping, because it used to be, the sort of the traditional Chinese medicine way of doing it. They actually lit a flame underneath the glass cup to create
to
that
suck out the
vacuum.
oxygen?
Yeah, to suck it out and create a vacuum and then put it on you. And then it just sat there, and then you leave with these great big circles on your back
Yeah.
or wherever you're doing it at. But really lately, I would say even just in the last 10 years, going along with more of the myofascial techniques, you've been able to, they've sort of taken cupping and incorporated in almost a little bit more modern, I guess. So we have the traditional cups, but we also use silicone ones, and the silicone ones are nice because when you put them on, then you can do some mobility with them too. So you actually have the cup on the person. Let's say it's a shoulder, and then you take them through range of motion, and especially if they have one particular direction where they move and it hurts. You can put these cup on them and have them repeat that motion and do that 8 or 10 times,
Yeah.
and it'll help kind of relieve that tissue. It just kind of decompresses the tissue, and it allows the muscle belly to slide underneath the fascia. And doing that releases everything, and it's an incredible technique. It works really well.
so it's kind of almost like how you have spinal decompression. It's almost
Sort of, it's a decompression
In a
of
way.
soft tissue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a decompression therapy for sure. For sure.
Yeah, yeah. Cupping was always, that was weird when that first came around.
Well, and it's like, like I said, Michael Phelps, I mean, the whole Olympic thing, that's what really popularized it. And that's what caused a lot of people to start, like, companies to start doing research on it and figure out, like, hey, what is actually happening with this? And so you had you have the Olympics to thank for that. I mean, because it did make it more mainstream.
yeah.
Same thing with kinesio taping.
Yeah.
Rock tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made it,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
true. I
the
guess
same
that's
thing.
true too. I didn't think about that.
Yep.
The kinesio tape is pretty incredible too, because I mean it's. and
'Cause
it's-
what's it do? It like pull
yeah.
the poles.
It's
And
right?
it became
decompression.
popular from the Olympics too, seeing
Yeah.
the volleyball girls and stuff with their shoulders taped
Yeah.
and all that, and we've all been through some kinesio tape classes and all that stuff and learned all about it. And it's another super easy technique that I've been blown away by the effectiveness of it. And really, all it is the way that tape is sort of made, I guess. It's the fibers. It's the way the fibers intertwine, and it becomes flexible in one direction, not in the other direction. And so when you actually put it on the skin, it decompresses. It grabs the skin and kind of pulls it up a little bit. So originally, what they were thinking with it was, when you pull the skin up, it's going to create more room for circulation to flow through there, so that you can sort of pump the inflammation. It gives more room for your body to kind of control inflammation, I guess. It gives you a little bit of support as well. It's not like the traditional or the old athletic tape, that you used to wrap your ankles and stuff like that with. It's not that rigid, so it allows you to have full range of motion while it's on there. with a little bit of support. But then after they kind of got into it and started using it and seeing what it works, and then more research came out, really the number one thing, you can almost just put it on an area that hurts, just put a piece of tape over it, let's say it's the kinesio tape.
Yeah.
And what they found out really is it's more a neurological symptom or issue, because just putting the tape on your skin causes your brain to kind of send more signals to that area, which increases circulation to the area, which allows that inflammation to kind of pump out.
Interesting.
And that's the most effective part of it, I think, is just the neurological aspect of it.
So do you have to put it on, like, say you said the volleyball players, do you put it on like in a certain position, or does it?
You do. It depends on what you're dealing with. I mean,
okay.
and we use it for almost every single body part. Usually you stretch the muscle just a little bit before you put it on, and then you don't stretch the tape all the way either. You stretch the tape about 50% while you're placing it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but didn't they also say now they're saying that like the stretch isn't as important as it originally thought?
Initially there was you were taught sort of exactly how much stretch to put in the tape you went on it, and now they're just saying it really doesn't matter. You just put the tape on there.
I mean, there's certain procedures, protocols, like the way you tape, but like that.
Yeah.
You need to use. But
So if somebody comes and gets that done, is it usually before like a sporting thing or something, or will they get it done, just leave it on all day, or how?
It'll stay on. Actually, you can. I mean, you can get it sort of use it as a preventative measure, but the tape actually will stay on for a solid 3 days, and that's with exercise. That's with showers. Because it's the adhesive that I don't know what the adhesive they use on it, but it works.
Gorilla Glue.
It works really well.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I was just you talking. I'm like, I guess I've really seen it mostly in like sports and stuff. So I just was curious if but
we use it on.
Hey, I got a game.
It's pretty common. We use it on elbows and ankles and knees and
low backs,
everything.
Everything you think of.
So.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever have you guys do like on-site stuff? Like our buddy Charlie, he made a niche going to festivals.
Yeah, I've actually worked.
Stuff.
I've worked some music festivals with Charlie. Like I did North Coast Music Festival in Chicago.
Did some adjustments up there.
Yeah, and I got to work with Shine down here in Springfield. Whenever they came through, they needed a chiropractor. We have. It's not like an all the time thing because Springfield doesn't have a lot.
I didn't know if it was even a service.
Yeah,
I didn't mean like just with sports or anything.
I want to do the Fat Ass 5K every year, and I always freaking forget about it.
Yeah, it sneaks up.
Fun.
I've done some CrossFit events, and taped people at CrossFit events and stuff like that. The coolest one was I went to Chicago to the regionals, to the actual CrossFit regionals, and worked that for Rock Tape up there.
Oh, cool.
So we were actually working with the elite CrossFit athletes, and that was an eye opener. That was a pretty cool experience.
I don't think I knew you did that.
Yeah. It was on the
Bill's,
it was on
weekend gig.
Man of mystery.
Yeah, he's doing stuff.
It was
Mysterious man.
like that was before you were probably still in high school.
Oh yeah, probably.
in the womb.
How long has the Rock Tape been around? Like that type of stuff.
I'm kidding. This wasn't that long ago, but probably Rock Tape's been around for 10 years or so.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the kinesio tape, Rock Tape as a company, I'm guessing.
It's its own, as a brand.
Yeah, and I think it's probably been 10 years or so. I don't know. It may be older than that. And
yeah, interesting.
But CrossFit actually gave Rock Tape a big boost. I mean, they sort of popularized it too, because all those athletes were all taped up and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh.
That was busy
CrossFit
time.
came out of nowhere, man. I was like, what the hell?
That was getting popular when
what
we
the
were in
hell is
school.
everybody
CrossFit,
doing now? They're
yeah.
CrossFit?
Yeah, CrossFit.
What is that?
Yeah.
We saw so many injuries in school from CrossFit when it was starting to gain traction, and people were just, their form was horrible. Like that was like half the stuff that came into the school when we were in clinic was CrossFit injuries. So I kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for it, but
Careful.
I think they've gotten better.
Yeah, easy.
Careful.
They're a pretty tight-knit community.
Yeah.
Hey,
and I really like
I
them.
just said it used to.
It used to.
No, it's good. It's good. I've actually thought about doing CrossFit, but
Yeah,
You'd be good at it.
It's pretty. It's pretty intense. I did it for a little bit. I'm terrible with like my time.
I get it. I get it.
You guys all got families though. I mean, how do you got two locations you're running, Winchester and Springfield. So how's the balance? How's the balance there work out for you guys? It's nice you have three of you at least kind of back each other up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really can complain as far as hours, and we're able to have at-home lives and take care of our families and have a good time with them, but also come into work and at both locations and being able to do that.
You guys said, and you said you switch off days at the Winchester location each year there one day.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Kyle's Monday, Bill's Tuesday, and I'm Thursday, and then
we share patients over there. You know,
Yeah.
so
I was gonna say, just out of curiosity, like, are people like picky about like, no, I need to
There's a
see
few.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely people that have that. You know, they have your favorite. You know, because we all bring different aspects
Right.
of chiropractic care to the table. You know, I mean, each one of us I think is better at
Right.
certain things.
But
than
for the
other.
most part, I would say 80% of the patients we see over there, they don't mind seeing any of us.
It's
know,
usually
so
those
it works out.
the maintenance patients that are the once a month or whatever that they will pick
Right.
whichever one is their favorite.
Someone
But
will
like
work.
as far as the new patients go, like somebody that comes in like with a hot low back, they're seeing everybody. So
That's kind of what makes us work, though, is that we all bring our own talents to the table, and we all work really well together. We all get along very well. Like,
How did you guys all end up meeting? Did you guys meet at Westside?
Yeah.
Yes.
And same with Bill too. All three of us. Yeah.
so there was the previous owner of Westside Pain Clinic.
I don't remember. Did you start there while he was still there, or no?
He.
Well, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but
And that's how I met these guys. I didn't know them before.
Okay.
Before joining up over there, I don't think they were real excited about me joining.
No,
them,
we
though.
didn't want him.
They kept complaining. They kept complaining to me. No.
Right. they weren't real thrilled about that whole thing. But then they met me and they were.
we're a young office. We don't need an old person coming in.
Yeah. And Keenan, I don't have any hair, and he's got all of it.
It's crap.
That's actually why they didn't want you.
I know.
All right. They were like, look at him.
He's tall.
All right, here's what we got to do. We got to
blue
make him shave his head before he comes in. That's part of the
Change
deal.
his eye color. Get him out of
eyes.
here.
Brown eyes.
How did how'd the Winchester situation come to play? Like, end up with this location there?
So the previous owner there, I had treated him for quite a few years. When I first got out, I worked for a guy in Auburn, and then the doctor in Winchester would see me down there. And then, long story short, he came up and he kind of seen all of us, and he ended up. Chiropractors are notorious for blowing out our shoulders because of the positions that we get in to adjust people. He blew out both his shoulders, literally couldn't practice anymore, needed to sell it.
That sucks.
So we essentially came to a deal
Worked
and
out,
it
yeah.
worked out. So he'd been trying to sell it to me for quite a long time. And I was like, dude, I just don't want to drive to Winchester 4 or 5 days a week. This is too easy for me here. So we kind of blew it off. But then,
But if I have my partners that have to
Yeah.
drive also.
yeah, no, seriously.
Well, we ended up we
Yeah.
probably did like 3 months just kind of filling in for him because he needed some help over there.
Yeah.
So each of us was going over there anyway, once or twice a week. I think we were just doing Tuesdays and Thursdays during that time, I think. So
Yeah.
each of us was going over there once a week or something, and then so that kind of gave us a little bit of an introduction into that practice over there and the community.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of worked out to where he needed
Was the
somebody
right
to take it
move.
over,
Yeah.
and we did.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And it's a solid practice. I mean, it's been there for 30 some years, I think. It's
That's
been a
awesome.
chiropractic office.
Yeah.
So it's, it's
Well,
kind
it's
of,
cool you're able to keep it going
yeah, exactly.
instead of just getting shut down.
Yeah, and I think the community over there appreciates having us there too. Just they don't have to drive anywhere; they can just stay in their own hometown.
Yeah. I saw a picture on your guys' page. Were you at the high school or something? Did I see?
Yeah, it's
that
been-
you there or something.
Couple years ago,
Was it?
pre-COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it was the year first year we
yeah.
bought it, but then with COVID and all that
Right,
crap,
everything
it's
got
like you
shut down.
didn't have any of the
How-
graduation and
How did COVID affect you guys? Like, as far as like seeing patients, just like what you know what I mean? Was it have a big effect on you? Was it? Because technically it was like, were you considered like a or what were they calling it?
We weren't mandated to close. If that's
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah,
asking.
yeah.
It was a
kinda-
scary time, and we didn't know if we
Yeah.
were going to be mandated to close or not.
Yeah.
But those first 2 months were really iffy on.
we self-shut down basically for the first month, wasn't it? Nobody knew what the hell was
right.
going on,
Right.
And so we were like, well, let's kind of shut down. We'll open it for just emergency patients only. But then it gets to a point where like, what does
not
that even
making
mean?
any money.
Well, that too. I mean,
Right.
I
what
forgot
does-
about all that.
what does that mean? Emergency patients. If somebody's in pain,
Right.
they're in pain.
Yeah.
So, and then two, I mean, I know COVID was bad for a lot of people, but we felt like we could open up and be safe,
yeah.
and so that's what we did.
And if
So-
someone
Yeah.
doesn't want to come see you, they don't have
Exactly.
Right, and so
Exactly.
our volume definitely decreased.
Oh, yeah.
For probably
while.
a full year, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, we were down pretty significantly through there, but we still kept the doors open and went through all the procedures and
Yeah.
did things we
I
did.
was
And
just
for a while, we were
interested, yeah.
having people call from their car, I'm here.
Come in.
And then we were just bringing people in
So
really
weird.
just one at a time.
I completely forgot
I
about
know.
all of
We
that.
just
That's so
blocked
crazy.
I just blocked out that 2
I
years.
did. I was like, man, I forgot all about that. Yeah, we did do that, didn't
It
we?
was weird.
Where's the thermometer?
I made a
at?
video. I remember
Right.
I was like, just chill for 3 weeks. We're going to be
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Like 2 years later, I was like, I was a little off
Yep.
there.
2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yep, we made it.
So you guys are located right over here down the street from us off of Veterans.
Yep.
But you expanded that. When was
That was like
that?
5-6 years
Was
ago.
it that long?
Yeah,
Time
it's been a
flies
while.
by.
Yeah.
That place was tiny.
I just
when
started
first
adding like 3 years to every guess on anything I do
Yeah.
now because my wife's always like, that was like 6 years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought that was like 2 years ago. So do you guys have like, do you have to do like any kind of continuing education or anything weird like that? How's that? Because I mean, you're talking about like new technologies, like learning new studies and stuff like that. Is it all like self, like, oh, I'm just interested, or is it more?
It is. I mean, there's so many hours per 3-year cycle, I guess, that we have to get in.
150, I think,
Yeah.
something like that.
Something like that.
It's-
I don't remember.
yeah.
How's that work? Do they have like classes, the
Yeah.
options?
You can take whatever you want, as long as it's
Accredited.
accredited, yeah.
Right.
And so whatever interests you, I guess, so like we're getting ready to do another course that's like 17 credit hours that's sponsored by Rock Tape, and it's all about mobility stuff and a little bit more cupping, even like in foam rolling, and even there's a whole class about some tips and techniques on using the Theragun.
Cool.
Which
Yeah.
is the big vibration percussor that you
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah, and I should also say that
You
that
know.
thing, like, people, I always warn people if they buy one is to be careful with those things because they can
They're
Injure
intense.
you.
Right.
They can't injure you. Like, I've had a lot of patients that have gone out and bought one. Like, I'll use it on them. They go out and buy it, and they come back in and they're horrible because they just held it over one spot for like
Right.
10 minutes, and it sends the whole body into spasm. And it's actually very, very hard to kind of get that to release. So
Yeah.
if you have one of those, just be careful with them. I mean, you can overdo it for sure.
Those things came out of nowhere too.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're super popular.
Yes.
Well, that's cool though.
Some of that was trial and error on ourselves too, because I had Keenan use it on my low back one time, and it was he put it right on my skin and didn't move it on both sides, And so the next day I wake up and I'm like, what is going on with my low back, And I had just like 2 big rug burns. I mean, like major. It was so for like 3 weeks. I'm like
rubbing it around.
Damn
on
it,
there.
Keenan.
I know. It's okay.
He did it on purpose.
The other good one was the
But then
wire.
we were able to tell patients, hey, make sure you
Don't do
don't
that.
go
That's a
go
big-
skin don't go directly on your skin.
Yeah. That's
Anything that we've
interesting.
done to a patient, we've done to ourselves, just so to
Yeah.
see what it's like.
Tested
Like
ourselves first.
the Y strap with your neck. That was a funny one.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
that's a common
There's
request
a-
though, is that
Yeah.
Y strap because
Yeah.
of the YouTube videos.
What's that called?
What's the Y
The ring
strap?
dinger.
The ring
Yeah.
dinger. Have you seen the ring
Uh-uh.
dinger? It's where the guy takes a towel, wraps around your head, and just like, he
Oh, I have
goes
seen
to
that.
town.
I have
Yeah.
seen that. I guess.
and
We-
just like rips your head off.
We
Yeah.
get that's a common
So-
question to have is do you have a Y strap?
Really?
Yeah, but we don't use it in that method. That's,
No, because
that's not a method we would do.
I'd like you to try to rip my
Yeah.
head off.
Yeah.
we got
Looks
it.
nice.
And
It's
Bill's,
crazy.
Bill's like, I want you to
Try it.
He's like, I'm like, you want to go full bore on you? He's like, yeah, try it. Oh, that was not good.
I mean, if you've seen Keenan's arms,
I recovered.
Not good. He did
I was on the
recover.
decompression table for a
Yeah,
couple
like,
months
oh,
after
that
that.
So we don't do that to
That's what I
patients.
felt
Nope.
bad. But speaking of that though, it's interesting. You'd be surprised the number of people that actually do just sit around and watch videos of
Yeah.
people getting popped and cracked.
Yeah.
all the time.
Just
Just
'cause
because
they-
ones out there.
I don't know. I never really thought it was that interesting, but
Me neither.
It's that
but,
weird stuff.
But they like the sound.
It's like ASMR stuff.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
just any of that stuff. And then they probably don't even realize that none of the sound is like there's a microphone somewhere right there. That's
Oh,
let's
yeah.
boost it up.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Like go get your back adjusted. It's not that loud on the
No.
crack, but I understand. It's just interesting. There's some people with some crazy amounts of followers though, man, that just adjust. This one guy just adjusts hot women.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what he does. I'm like, that's a
Yoga
niche.
Those are the
ones he
that's a good,
videos.
that's a good niche
Yeah.
to get into, I guess.
Yoga pants.
I'm gonna be the hot woman adjuster.
Yeah.
You got the guy with the mount and the
See,
chisel.
you're sitting around watching those videos too.
Yeah.
He's
I
not
got
watching
you.
for the
I
adjustments,
got you.
though.
I'm totally interested. I was preparing for this podcast. We'll set Keenan up. You can be the hot guy adjuster.
God.
That's great. So from a business perspective, as far as being, we were talking about like a time and helping each other. Like, is it hard having the 3 of you there? I mean, I guess from one side, from a voting aspect at least, if you're voting on something, there's kind of always going to be a 2 versus 1 if someone, but just getting along and making decisions.
We really are fortunate because we get along really, really well. I mean, we're always usually pretty much on the same page with most things.
Most of the things we decide on are typically unanimous, I guess.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, it's just, sometimes like you get into business and you're like, God damn it, this is terrible.
No, we luck out.
We're super lucky because we don't have that. We don't argue. We don't fight.
Right.
Like our families get along. It's just, I can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they can complain about me, but I don't complain about them.
And you can probably feel that
That's
vibe.
not what I heard.
Yeah.
I think you can feel that vibe coming into the office too. I mean, there's not a lot of tension between any of us really there.
Yeah, we like to have a good time.
And that relays over to how we're treating our patients and our full patient experience when they come to the office too. I mean, because although we wish the outside of the building and the building itself was in a little bit better shape, but our office, once you walk in the doors, it's a relief, I think. Mm-hmm. I think especially for a new patient, when they pull up, they're maybe not really sure what to expect, but then when they walk in, they can breathe a little bit because it's a very nice office. It is.
Yeah, I like it's very open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially talking about COVID, like coming in there, like you could spread out, you could be away from somebody, whatever. If you
it's open but
that
private.
time, but
we have rooms where you can close you off.
Yeah. I just meant like the space. It didn't feel like you're in this tight little area waiting to get adjusted.
Yeah, and we try to make it so it's not like a sterile doctor's environment. You know what I mean? Like we've never really been that way. We like to have a good time, like we said earlier. It's just. People come in, you can kind of feel that vibe off the jump.
Yeah,
we like to joke and have a good time.
Yeah, sometimes a little too much, probably,
but
it's okay.
Especially
on Fridays, you don't know what conversations going to happen in the office on Fridays.
How long has Westside Pain Clinic been around?
Like total, I don't know.
15 years?
Has it been that long?
Probably, because I think when I came on, it was
what was the other doctor that was there? No, besides Chris.
You're talking about like Krug?
Woolraby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woolraby.
So, and he did a technique that was only activator or impulse. So he didn't do any of the popping, cracking stuff. And actually, he's the one that taught me majority of that stuff that I know how to do. And I use that. Yeah, I use that as well. If I've got somebody that doesn't want to be popped and cracked, that's the method that I'll use.
Or somebody that's like osteoporotic.
Yeah,
you're running a risk of adjusting and breaking a bone. You just pull out the impulse or activator, and it just sends a bunch of little impulses into the bones or muscles, whatever you're adjusting. We prefer. I think we all prefer the manual because it gets it done faster.
Yeah.
But you run into those cases where you just can't manually adjust something.
I mean, the populations that we adjust, is really from infancy to 90. 100. We've actually had Keenan has the record, I think.
Yeah.
107.
107.
Yeah.
When I first saw her, she was 104, and I was seeing her for jaw pain.
Talk about crawling in, wheelchairing in.
Yeah, she did. And then I saw her.
Crazy. Jaw pain, is that what you said?
Jaw pain, TMJ, and it was crazy because jaw pain is pretty hard to treat. It usually takes quite a few visits to get better. It was like 2 visits and she was done, like 100% better. And then 4 years later, she's 107. She comes rolling back in the door again. I'm like, oh my God.
You're still here.
You're still here. I'm like, this is crazy.
Was it jaw pain again? Did it come back or something?
No, it was kind of like jaw pain, but it was more neurological. And
Gotcha.
after doing the exam, I was just like, you're in the wrong office. So we're just going to go to the neurologist.
I'm worried I will kill you. So I do not want to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to touch you.
So that elderly population, using the activator or the impulse gun is another avenue, I guess, that's a little bit less
Yeah. How does it work with like infants?
Awesome. It's amazing.
So we're just using fingers. And
so yeah, there's some
is
of
it
that.
like CPR?
Yeah. So and that's the big thing too is most parents that are bringing their child in, they kind of have no idea what to expect, but a lot of the population thinks that you're gonna pop and crack a newborn, and that's just not the case. Like that's not what we do. A lot of it's soft tissue mobilization, it's vibratory technique. Also, you can use the activator. It's a lot of that stuff, but and there's a ton of stuff that you can use it for babies. And it works amazing.
The most amazing is constipation.
Oh, it's amazing.
Sure. Like it's
so
colicky,
good.
constipated baby.
Interesting.
There's a technique called basic, and you essentially there's a big ligament that's kind of in the like on the butt cheek, and you basically just contact that and stretch it out. And I mean, like those babies will literally start farting on your table.
Taking
Or
It's
they
crazy.
may poop on you.
I think we've all had experiences.
Yeah,
I mean, we've
but-
all
Put
got
'em on
kids.
the bike.
yeah.
It's pretty interesting just because I think over the years when I've treated infants, most of them it's been for that, either a constipation thing, which is creating sort of a colicky type of issue. Parents are insane because they don't sleep,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and
About
I
to
think
have
that
a third
it
one,
works.
3, and
I want to say that it's almost 100% effective. I mean, I nothing is 100%, so maybe not on everybody, but over the
Interesting.
years, I can't really think of one infant that hasn't improved. And a lot of times, even that same day,
Yeah.
they'll go home and they'll be out in the car and they'll sleep for 3 hours.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Take that dump, and they're ready to take it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then,
Well, it's
and then everybody sleeps.
Well, it's like it's
I'm
really,
just gonna take. We're both just taking a nap out here in
Yeah.
the car. Don't mind us.
Yeah.
well, if those parents are listening, I mean, it's really easy to kind of see what if your baby needs it is. You just take their butt cheeks and pinch them together, whichever. If like the top of their butt crack, if it's going to the right or to the left or whichever way, it means that side of the ligament's tight. So you just it's kind of know. I mean, everybody kind of has like they all have a little bit of deviation,
Right.
but like it's like drastic, like
Takes
it'd
a
be
S-curve.
way off to the right, yeah, left field. So.
Huh. Interesting.
Same with pregnant moms, man. It's
I was gonna
it's
say, what about
amazing.
pregnancy?
Oh, it's so good. I mean, we've all
Is
had
it-
pregnant wives too, and it's so good. It just helps them along the process, and it helps the birthing process be a little bit easier on them.
Is there like a point where you're not supposed to do it? I know, like, you know what I
We
mean?
go-
There's like
Just don't touch the
pregnancy
ankles.
massages or whatever.
Yeah, we go all the way through.
Just
the way through
avoid the
pregnancy.
ankles, I mean, really,
Yeah,
is
we
all
just
you
don't
do.
adjust feet. A lot of time, some women will want their feet adjusted because they start getting a little bit more miserable further on in the pregnancy.
Yeah.
But that's something we stay away from because there's acupuncture points that can induce
Oh
labor.
yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, so we stay away from the ankles. We don't do any feet adjusting, but low
Yeah,
backs,
the feet
mid
are like,
backs.
aren't the feet like super, like a lot of like nerves or something down there?
Yeah.
It's very.
Yeah, they do like reflexology, which is
yeah,
some
that's
stuff
weird.
with the feet.
Especially since you're just walking around on them all day.
Yep.
And obviously, the techniques we use change as the woman is going through the pregnancy. I mean,
Yeah.
as they start getting a little bigger. I mean, obviously, we're not laying them face down anymore
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So there's different ways that you can approach that. And
You ever
that's-
seen these
it
like
really works well.
7-month pregnant women just working out, CrossFit
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
or whatever? I'm like,
Yeah.
God, man, that
Well,
looks-
I mean, my wife did. I mean, yeah.
Did she?
It was good for them.
Jeez.
It's good for the women too.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I
Amber
mean, you
did
stay
too.
you stay working out. I mean, it honestly makes the delivery
Yeah,
that much
everyone
easier
was
for on them if they work out. Like it's kind of counterintuitive. Like there's certain things you can't do, like certain core workouts that you can't do because you're worried about basically tearing the stomach lining and whatnot,
Yeah.
or the muscles. But it's phenomenal for them to stay working out.
Yeah, and it helps them
Stay
bounce
busy,
back after they're
stretch.
Yeah.
done too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy. I can't imagine. I see my wife.
I can't either.
Walking around, just like I cannot
I think-
imagine how you're carrying these 2 kids alone with carrying the third baby inside.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
bizarre.
Yeah, I know my wife worked out pretty consistently through all of her pregnancies, and she ran. I mean, she was a runner, and so I know. I'm trying to think of which kid it was, but it might have been Calissa, my oldest. Anna she ran 5 miles the day before she delivered. Out
That's
at
crazy.
Carpenter Park. I mean,
That's
it was insane.
Well, yeah,
Are you
yeah.
sure we should be doing this?
Yeah.
Let's talk with Maggie, my wife. She was, I think, when she was doing box jumps the day. There was some kind of high intensity
Right
workout.
before.
It was like she was like 37 weeks, 38 weeks, and we got done. And she's like, I don't feel right. We got to work, checked her blood pressure, it was high, and they're like, oh, you're going in. We're going to
Have a
induce.
baby.
So, but yeah, you can work out basically the whole entire time.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've
It's good
always
for
thought
them.
that was
So
crazy.
I want to talk a little bit about sort of the perception of chiropractic.
Yeah. I know some people
kind of
like, are
globally.
like, oh, it
yeah.
doesn't work.
Just in the since I started until now, it's been pretty interesting to see that progress that I guess that we as an industry have made. Because initially, most physicians, most MDs were completely anti-chiropractic. And when I started practice in the late 90s, I guess it was hard to get a referral, to have a family physician or a primary care physician actually refer a patient to us for back pain or,
Yeah.
just something in general.
Trying to sell them
It was rare when that happened. Most of the time,
kickbacks.
most of the time when you got one, it was because the patient initiated it. The patient really wanted, hey, I've had this before. I want to go to this chiropractor, and then they would get a recommendation that way. But lately, I guess, and I don't know what the time frame is, but over that time that I've been in practice, the perception has changed completely. It's a lot more accepted than it used to be.
Yeah.
We have
It's hard not to.
sort
when
of
you get these
and the
stories,
demographics has changed too. I mean, because the number of people and the age of people has broadened quite a bit. And now it's not uncommon for us now to get a referral from a primary care physician for back pain. And a lot of it has to do with the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
They're if you go to your doctor or you go to the Express Care or something for a back pain condition or any type of pain, they can't just give you Vicodin or anything like that anymore. It's so regulated that they're which kind of gives them much more limited options to treat their patients.
Yeah.
And so what they're finding is, hey, chiropractic actually does work for this stuff, and the patients get better faster, and then they can go back to their physicians and say, hey, that guy really helped me, So the perception in that aspect, I think, has been a huge positive over the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's been pretty
good
impressive.
that people kind of get open-minded about that stuff. I think, though, like the slow progression, and just so many people like slowly trying it, and then like the stories that they have. I mean, how could you?
Right.
Well, and the other thing too is like, if just because you've gone to a chiropractor, and if you had a bad experience, so I mean, we're not all the same. I mean, some people are going to come into us and not like us. They might go somewhere else in Springfield and like them way better, and that's fine. But like, we're not all created the same. Like
Right.
some of us are going to be a good fit for some people, and other people are just not going to be, and that's okay.
But it's nice that you guys have 3 options.
Yeah. And we're all a little bit different.
Like you said earlier when you said, you're all a little bit
Yeah,
different.
we all do the same techniques, but it's different. I mean, I'm probably they call me Dr. Soft Hands because I'm the lightest adjuster.
Over here. I'm having somebody else next time.
Do you want the man hands?
Yeah, Keenan will throw
The
you
man
the same.
specialist over here.
But no, I'm a little bit lighter adjuster. But that's you kind of because chiropractic it's a science, but also it's an art. I mean, some people, that go through chiropractic school, they have a hard time learning how to adjust, and some people don't. And it's all based off how you've been adjusted and how you like it. You know what I mean? So some people don't like to be thrown through a table. Some people like to be thrown through a table.
Yeah. I remember before I had.
I'm not throwing people.
Yeah,
through the
we're not
table.
really.
We're
not really
Promise.
Where do I sign up for that?
Just a saying.
gotta turn
I remember
them up.
before I had you adjusting me, I had an adjustment at another chiropractor, and the one, there's 2 people there, and one of them just wasn't really getting a adjustment or whatever you call it, a crack out of my back.
Yeah.
And the other one came in and just was like, wham, cracked the shit out of it. And I was like, oh man, that felt really good.
Yeah. It's different.
I could see
it's
that.
different.
It's interesting. Yeah, no, I think it's like that with a lot of stuff, and it's like just gotta be open minded, try things. Like I said, I'm just like anything where I don't have to like be on a pill or like because it just seems like that just leads to something else, whether it's a surgery or a pill or whatever. It's like, all right, you're taking this, but now you're having this issue, and now you need this one. And you just see that with so many people.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like any musculoskeletal. I mean, like even if you're not going to see a chiropractor, man, go to a physical therapist. There's a time and place for medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
But most of the stuff that we see, I mean, that people do not be on medication for that. Like, try these other routes.
Yeah.
Get a gym membership.
No,
Get
you
a personal
say that.
trainer. Go to a physical therapist. Do something other than just getting on medication.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there is a time and place, but that should be your last, not your last, but it should be later on down the road before you've tried other avenues of health.
Yeah. Now that you say that, it made me think of a time with my my knee, and I think you actually did some acupuncture on it, but I also was still just having a lot of trouble with it, and I like went to the doctor. I was like, what do I have, something torn or what? And then they made me go to a physical therapist, and I was like, what is this going to do? You know what I mean? The guy is like, he's like, you definitely don't have any, well, they did the x-rays, all that stuff, they don't have anything torn. But then the physical therapist had me just do these random exercises, and ended up learning that like I don't like, what was it? I don't extend my leg like all the way out when I walk or something. So like it's constantly bent a little bit, which causes some pressure or pain or something. And he just had me kind of making sure I was doing like a full stretch at night and like doing some different exercises, and that actually helped quite a bit.
And that's a great segue into just, people think of health as they just want one provider, your primary, and that's all they think about. You need to have a team of providers, your primary care physician, that they're great for viruses, bacteria, stuff like that. That's where you need medication, stuff of that nature. You need to have a physical therapist, a chiropractor, because we were trained in physical therapy, but that's not what we do every day.
We don't.
So I love
specializing.
Exactly.
In it.
Exactly.
we
So
don't.
we always refer out to physical therapists
Yeah.
for exercises because that's what they do every day. We're good at.
I'm sure you can give some basic stuff. But
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Yeah, we do. But, we're great at mobilizing the body, mobilizing those joints through adjusting and through the muscle work and all that stuff. So point being is that you need to have a team. You just need to have one provider. And, going back to try every avenue besides medication is always kind of a good rule of thumb. Yeah, for sure.
All right. How about, I haven't been asking this at the beginning. I've been really slacking. But hardest part about being a business owner, we'll let you each give your input on this, but what do you think?
The hardest part about being a business owner in chiropractic or just being a business owner?
You can either way. Whatever is just the most
challenging
thing.
Chiropractic wise is definitely getting new patients. That's the hardest, and just kind of getting word out. Once you start doing good work and it kind of the ball starts rolling, it gets easier. But definitely when you're
mean like when you're first getting started?
Yeah, but even that's always like the biggest struggle I think within our field is because if you don't have a pipeline, like Bill was saying earlier, if you don't have a physician that's directly referring, if you don't have somebody that's directly referring to you, kind of are waiting for word of mouth to get out like, hey, these guys are good.
And especially if you don't do it early.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you were trying to become a chiropractor right now, probably most of your friends already have one that they go to, so you don't even have like an initial base. I was talking about that with somebody recently about like being a realtor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like
there's a lot of them.
If you start when you're like coming out of school or young and early, if you're lucky enough to realize you want to do whatever that job is, you probably have somewhat of a base from friends and family that maybe do not have anybody, you know what I mean, as opposed to like switching in the middle, you know what I mean, and trying to start then, which obviously if it's going to make you happier, you should still make the switch. But
isn't there like 90 licensed chiropractors in Springfield?
I have no idea anymore.
I mean, I know there's over 75. I think last time I checked, there was like 90.
But business wise, I mean, we're super fortunate because we have a really good team. I mean, Amanda, our office manager, is phenomenal, and she makes our lives incredibly easy. So that's a huge help. I mean, our CPA is really good. Everybody that we've got that's working with us has made our business life pretty easy, I think.
Yeah,
so
it's important.
We're trying to turn it up a little bit though this year.
Yeah, we're gonna
make a little push here this year maybe.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
How about yourself over there, Bill?
I would go along those lines. Kyle's right. I mean, I think on the business side of it, just staying on top of statistics, things like that, staying on top of the insurance aspect of it. And speaking of that, we do accept most insurances.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't think about.
There are some insurance companies that have minimal or no coverage, but for the most part, especially the patients around this area, I mean, there's usually some type of coverage. Sometimes it's 100%, sometimes it's 20. It just depends on the policy. And
can someone just call and check? They
can call and check, or Amanda's really good at it. So usually if we have a new patient that comes in, we obviously run copies of their insurance card, and then by the end of that visit, or at least by their next visit, they know exactly what their coverage is going to be, so there's no surprises or anything like that. Yeah. So we're pretty forthright about what our billing procedures are and how much we're billing for a visit. So.
What if someone doesn't have insurance? Is there kind of like somewhat standard pricing or like packages that you put together for people based on their issues?
There kind of is. It depends. It depends on what we're doing. If you're just coming in for an adjustment, we do have a standard fee for that. And then,
what about like evaluation? What if someone's like, I think I need adjustment or something like that?
Oh yeah, we pretty much do consults for free.
A consultation.
Yeah, if you want to come and just chat with us, it's free.
Yeah, if they want to come in and just meet us and see tell us what's going on with them and get our opinion on it, we don't charge anybody for that.
Yeah. So and then you could kind of put together a plan, let them know about what it would cost if they don't have any insurance or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and another thing too that kind of goes with that is we don't do any super long-term treatment plans. Like we usually treat till patient's better or plateaus and it's not getting improvement, and we release them. Then it's up to the patient. We'll kind of guide you, but we don't make anybody do long-term stuff. Like, we're not going to make you come in 4 times a week for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We just don't do that.
Yeah.
So
and that first visit tells us a lot too, how the patient's going to respond. So first visit is just a trial. Like you take on treatment and
try some.
I say,
things,
a lot of times I tell them like, we're going to try some basic stuff, see what happens.
Yep.
How the patient responds at first visit will tell us a lot about treatment plan, duration, frequency, stuff like that. So
Yeah, and I would say over 90+% of the time you're going to get treated on your first visit too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's just strictly a consult,
Right.
But we're kind of the mindset that we want you to get better as fast as possible, and so you're here. We're going to start, and get you going and try to get you on that road as quick as we can.
Okay.
Back to the Kyle's new patient. New patients is always kind of the thing that we try to focus on and get more, more people in the door, I guess. I would say again, 80 to 90% of our new patients are referrals. They're from existing patients or from people we know outside the community. The rest of that is up to you. We're working with you for that. so we're trying
on over
right?
here.
No pressure.
So we are trying to,
better.
we're doing this podcast and we're trying to get a little bit more of our image out there and who we are and what we do. You're doing a good job.
Okay.
It's tough to stay on top of everything, man. That's why I was curious about like balance with family and stuff, because it's just hard to like run the business, do the, you know what I mean? That's honestly where this whole business has came from, is I realized like so many business owners just don't have the time to mess with their social media, or they don't want to, one of the two.
Right.
Both. We're both.
Or both of them.
Or you don't know how to.
Because
don't know how is probably the biggest thing. I mean, because
originally, as you would know, as I was just doing videos, I'd just make a video for somebody, and they'd be like,
right.
all right, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
I'm like, post to your social media. How do we do that? And then I'm like, walk them through that. And then they're like, well, it's not getting very many views. How do we do that? I'm like, well, you got to advertise it or something. And they're like, well, how do we do that? I'm like, yeah, all right. Well, let's see what's going on here.
And it was TikTok. Like, what's a TikTok?
What's a TikTok?
Yeah, staying on top of all the news shit is a whole nother. Instagram just changed everything. Now they're moving away from Square.
I was trying to post on Instagram.
Square.
I couldn't figure it out today. How do you do it?
They're moving away from square pictures.
So what are you gonna have, round?
It's all 9x16 to fill up your whole phone.
Rectangle.
What?
It's a rectangle.
And if you're like a photographer, it's like impossible, like because there's so much dead space at top and bottom. It's like but they're actually, I think they're trying to move away in general from photos to video to compete with TikTok. There's Facebook's scared shitless.
See, this is your job, man. This is why we pay you to do what you do.
They are freaking out, I think, over it, because I've never seen a social media grow as fast or trend upwards in age as fast as TikTok has. It's fucking crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what TikTok.
Yeah, they're, you know what I mean?
It's just
it
videos.
took forever for the people, for Facebook to get
I don't have one.
to get to the age, like 30, 35, 40 and up. Now that like dominates, 25 to 30 and up dominates Facebook. So it's super interesting to me, at least.
Yeah. I think you'd notice a difference in our presence, I think, on social media since you've taken over, obviously. I mean, it's so much better. I was just scrolling through some stuff on our page anyway, because it had been a while, which is not good on my part, but I hadn't looked
Not
at
even
some
checking
of the stuff.
on these guys.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at it for a while, and it looks great. I mean, the graphics are good. The videos are really cool. I mean, these two guys came in and filmed some a couple weeks ago here, and with the green screen on the back, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks. Fun. It's so much more professional, and I think it looks great. So, if anybody's listening that wants to look us up, it's Westside. Yep. Westside Pain Clinic on Facebook, and westsidepainclinic.com is the website.
Yeah, definitely. How about you for business? Toughest part of small business owner?
Man, we got it, like we've said before, we got it easy. I mean, we really do. With, like Kyle said, with Amanda and stuff, she does such a good job in our CPA, and just people that we've surrounded ourselves with. We've lucked out. Don't get me wrong. We've lucked out that all three of us got together. I mean, because you hear horror stories about people with business partners that just does not work out. There's always this infighting, and man,
got a good vibe. Got some good people you work with.
I can't complain. I mean, honestly, I can't complain. I can't think of really any. I mean, you obviously have these little things here and there that are tough, whether that be insurance, billing, stuff like that.
But once
COVID, yeah. I mean, but I can't complain. We got it pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So
Well, that is crazy. I wish I had that. No, I'm just kidding. Anything we missed? I'm trying to think. Like, I guess you have the. What about that? There was that other piece of technology. The
Zerona?
The fat loss.
Zerona. My Zerona.
I know.
Didn't talk about that at all. Did you hit on that?
Go ahead, Bill.
Is there anything else? I'm just thinking.
You got it, Kyle.
You want me to?
It's
do
a
it?
weird thing.
I gotta
Like,
It's a
the
weird
man.
thing. I'll do it.
Okay.
when you guys
go
first
ahead.
got it, I was like,
It
"This
is.
is kind of
You
weird.
guys said I'm on a
Is
roll
this
today.
a gimmick or what?"
It's a little bit outside of
the
the kind of our
we normally
musculoskeletal
core
thing, but obviously weight loss is gonna help her, at least fat loss. Let's say fat
Yeah,
loss.
it's not.
You know,
It's health. I mean,
Yeah.
So, once again, kind of go back to like what we talked about first was with the cold laser for pain. Okay, they also have cold lasers for basically fat loss. Okay, so kind of how it happened was through liposuction. There was a liposuction clinic that. Okay, let me kind of start over. Liposuction.
let me try that.
If you want me to
Try
take
again.
this,
I'm going to do
Here we
this. Liposuction.
You can do it.
Liposuction is very.
It's not as good on this description.
I know. This is bad. Liposuction is very painful, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so liposuction clinic got.
I mean, I don't know, but
cold
yeah,
laser
okay.
clinic and said we want you to cold laser our patients pre and post liposuction treatment
Oh,
because
shit.
cold laser is proven to help out with inflammation. Anytime you go and start sucking out fat, you're going to cause inflammation.
Yeah.
So. The liposuction clinic, after doing this for a couple of months, basically found that they were able to extract more fat, and the fat that was extracted was actually liquefied. Okay, so that in turn caused the cold laser clinic to start doing research into it. And what they found was these specific waveforms of light that they utilize does a couple things. A, it liquefies the fat or emulsifies it, so it's not so chunky. B, it creates a pore in the fat cell, so that fat that's liquefied now leaks out of the fat cell. And then C, it also causes collagen production, so it basically tightens the skin, so around that area. And it's all FDA cleared. They did all the placebo double-blinded controlled studies. On average, with 6 visits, no dietary or lifestyle change. The only thing you're required to do is walk at least 20 minutes and drink a lot of water. You will lose 3.7 inches
Crazy.
of circumference loss. So it's not FDA cleared for weight loss, but it is FDA cleared for circumference reduction.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it does.
Which in the end, is probably what everyone's looking
Yes.
for
See, you
anyway.
did
Yeah.
I did it. I was a little
good.
tongue-tied at first.
That's all right.
It's a very nice machine to lose inches. That's how I'll
There you
describe
go.
it.
Yes.
The other machine pulls on you a little bit and makes you feel good.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I'll be your dumbed down version for
And this has been pretty effective. I mean, the patients that we've used it on, I mean, everybody's been at least that. At
Yeah.
least, what would you say, 3.8?
3.7, like 3.72
3.7.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
weird.
But yeah,
Weird
and
thing.
I also like to be 100% honest. That's
Do they
what
get freaked out about it?
like
With either of the lasers, do people get freaked out about
Not
those?
really.
not freaked out. I mean, they're like, am I going to feel anything? And you just tell them. I think it's more just a mind thing. They're not freaked out, but they can't grasp the concept of how it's working.
Yeah.
So a good way to kind of
That's what when you guys
So-
first got it, I was like, this seems kind of
Think of it-
gimmicky.
think of it
and
this
like,
way.
I think you explained it to me.
if
a
you
little
go
bit
outside
more.
and stand in the sun, what happens? You get tan, or you burn.
Andrew
I was
gets
gonna say,
sunburned,
super-
right?
You just burn.
My ass is burning.
So what's happening? What's happening? Your skin is just absorbing sunlight, photons, is absorbing light waves. So the cells inside your body can also absorb waveforms of light. It's just different waveforms of light at different frequencies. So they've identified these waveforms that your body can utilize and pack them into these quote unquote lasers.
Technology.
I know.
I need a laser for something.
I know,
Fixing eyes with them. Fat
Probably
loss or inch loss. What else, man? Anything else we missed? I feel like that was a good conversation and to learn a little about chiropractic here.
Yeah.
The details.
I think we covered just about everything.
Yeah.
I think so.
You know,
Well, like Bill said, you could definitely check them out. WestsidePainClinic.com. Westside Pain Clinic on Facebook. What's the difference? I know I don't know if you guys want me to say this, but I know you're considering kind of rebranding a little bit. But what's the difference between a pain clinic and what you guys do?
A lot of pain, like people think pain. We get people like calling for opioids.
Gotcha.
So they're looking for drugs essentially, and
Can you prescribe me?
yeah, so we're like
Right.
chiropractic office, no.
Interesting. Okay.
So and we just don't like the name.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean, and it is confusing to some people. I mean, and that's
it is a little bit. I understand.
and it is. I mean, you'd be surprised by the number of phone calls we get, and Amanda's gotten really good at filtering them out
Yes.
because she can tell,
right away.
hey, this is a chiropractic office. We don't prescribe medication, and pretty much that ends the conversation.
And it's not
It's
completely. It's not always pain.
No, yeah,
That's
exactly.
helping
right.
with.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we should have probably rebranded whenever we took the clinic over, but
it's tough.
We were
Branding's
afraid.
tough, man.
Yeah.
Especially when you when's the right time to do it,
Yep.
or people, then it's like, what's the process of doing that? And then all the expense that goes along
right.
with it.
Yep. Right.
I mean, as I know we all had a meeting about it, but it's a tough thing to do. It's interesting though.
Yeah.
Yep.
You see these giant companies do. Fuck, the hospitals are doing it all the damn time. I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn, man! I just need to be in the sign business.
got
It's
new
like-
gear.
rebranding
Yeah.
everything, cars, signs, nuts.
Talking millions with that, probably.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So, well, it's awesome having you guys on.
Yeah,
we appreciate
Definitely check them out on Facebook. I recommend them. I get adjusted there, like I said, regularly, and appreciate it, guys.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.